Let things deteriorate a little so you can see who you have chosen. At first, this idea sounds uncomfortable, even risky. We are taught to hold things together at all costs, to fix, to smooth, to rescue, to keep appearances intact. We rush to cover cracks before anyone notices. We rush to protect relationships, systems, and people from pressure. Yet life has a strange way of revealing truth only when comfort is removed. When everything is easy, almost everyone looks loyal, capable, and aligned with you. When things begin to deteriorate, when silence replaces applause and difficulty replaces convenience, reality steps forward. This is not cruelty. This is clarity in moments of stability. People can hide behind routine. Words are cheap when nothing is demanded. Promises are easy when no sacrifice is required. But when pressure arrives, when you stop carrying the entire weight alone, you begin to see who actually stands with you and who is only standing near you. This is why deterioration, when allowed in small, controlled doses, can be one of the greatest teachers of your life. It strips away illusion. It shows you patterns you were too busy to notice. It shows you who contributes, who drains, and who disappears the moment effort is required. Many people fear letting things fall, apart because they confuse deterioration with failure. They believe that if something weakens, it reflects poorly on them. In truth, deterioration often reveals that you have been overcompensating. You have been filling gaps that were never yours to fill. You have been carrying responsibilities that others quietly dropped on your shoulders. When you finally step back, even slightly, the imbalance becomes visible. What collapses without your constant effort was never stable to begin with. This applies to relationships, teams, ambitions, even personal habits. If a relationship survives only because you constantly explain, forgive, initiate, and endure, what happens when you stop doing all the work? If a team functions only because you micromanage every detail, what happens when you allow space for others to act? If your peace depends on endless distraction, what happens when silence enters the room? Deterioration answers these questions honestly, without emotion, without negotiation. There is strength in restraint. There is wisdom in observing instead of interfering. Letting things deteriorate a little does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means refusing to lie to yourself. It means allowing truth to surface naturally. When you stop forcing outcomes, people reveal their priorities. When you stop chasing, you see who stays. When you stop speaking, you hear what was always there. History offers powerful examples of this mindset, and one of the most profound comes from Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire yet mastered himself. As Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius lived under constant pressure. War, plague, political betrayal, and personal loss surrounded him. He could not afford illusions. His survival, and the survival of Rome, depended on clarity. In his private writings, later known as meditations, he repeatedly emphasized observing reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. He believed that adversity was not an enemy, but a revealer. Marcus Aurelius understood that when circumstances deteriorate, character is exposed. During the Marcomannic Wars, Rome faced relentless invasions along its northern borders. Resources were stretched thin. Soldiers were exhausted. Loyalty was tested. Marcus did not panic or cling desperately to comfort. He faced deterioration head-on. He observed which generals remained disciplined, which officials acted with integrity, and which allies vanished when Rome's strength was no longer guaranteed. Through hardship, he learned who could be trusted with responsibility and who could not. Instead of collapsing under pressure, Marcus used it as a filter. He adjusted leadership, replaced those who failed, and reinforced those who endured. He did not pretend that everything was fine. He did not hide the cracks. He allowed reality to speak. This approach strengthened Rome in the long term and strengthened him internally. He wrote that fire does not destroy gold, it refines it. In the same way, difficulty does not destroy strong bonds, it reveals them. For your audience today, this lesson is deeply relevant. Many people feel exhausted without knowing why. They feel surrounded yet unsupported. They feel busy yet unfulfilled. Often the reason is simple. They have chosen poorly, not out of weakness, but out of blindness created by comfort. When everything is smooth, you cannot see clearly. When things begin to deteriorate, vision sharpens. Allowing small discomforts can save you from massive disasters later. A friendship that cannot survive honesty will not survive crisis. A partnership that collapses under pressure will collapse completely when stakes are higher. A mindset that depends on constant validation will crumble the moment silence arrives. Let deterioration do its quiet work. Observe, learn, adjust. This is not about becoming cold or detached. It is about becoming honest. It is about recognizing that your energy is finite and your time is precious. You cannot afford to invest endlessly in people, habits, and systems that collapse the moment you step back. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that life is short and clarity is a duty. He did not chase comfort. He chased alignment with truth. When you let things deteriorate a little, you reclaim your power to choose consciously. You stop being manipulated by guilt and expectation. You stop mistaking noise for loyalty. You stop confusing presence with commitment. What remains after deterioration is not always pleasant, but it is always real. And from reality, real strength is built. Once deterioration reveals the truth, the next challenge begins, accepting what you see without bitterness. Many people reach clarity and then turn it into resentment. They feel betrayed by what is revealed. They feel angry that others did not meet their expectations. This reaction is understandable, but it is also a trap. The purpose of deterioration is not to harden your heart. It is to sharpen your judgment. When something weakens and exposes its flaws, it is not attacking you. It is informing you. Information, even painful information, is power. The mistake is not that things deteriorate. The mistake is ignoring what deterioration shows you and then repeating the same choices again. Growth begins when you can look at what remains and what disappears and respond with calm decisions rather than emotional reactions. Marcus Aurelius faced this challenge constantly. As emperor, he dealt with betrayal at the highest levels. Trusted officials abused power. Generals failed him. Even his own son, Commodus, would later prove unfit to rule. Marcus did not allow these realities to turn him into a bitter tyrant. Instead, he reflected deeply on human nature. He wrote that people act according to what they understand to be good for them, even when they are wrong. This perspective allowed him to stay composed while making firm decisions. He understood that disappointment often comes from unrealistic expectations. When you expect everyone to share your discipline, your values, and your sense of duty, you will suffer endlessly. Letting things deteriorate a little helps reset expectations. It reminds you that not everyone is built for the same level of responsibility. Some people are companions in comfort, not partners in struggle. Recognizing this is not arrogance. It is realism taught in modern life. Many people overextend themselves emotionally and mentally. They become the pillar for everyone else while neglecting their own foundation. When they finally step back and things begin to wobble, they feel guilt. They rush back in to stabilize what was never meant to be supported by one person alone. This cycle leads to burnout and quiet resentment. The courage to let deterioration continue long enough to reveal the full picture is rare, but transformative. Consider how this applies to your mindset. If your confidence collapses the moment circumstances turn against you, that deterioration is teaching you something valuable. It is showing you that your self-worth is tied too closely to outcomes, approval, or control. Instead of masking that weakness, you can strengthen it. Marcus Aurelius practiced this relentlessly. He reminded himself that external events are not under our control, but our judgments about them are. When comfort faded, he did not panic. He adjusted his inner posture. This inner discipline allowed him to endure immense loss. He lost children, You lost friends. He ruled during a devastating plague that killed millions. The Roman world he inherited was already beginning to decline. He could not stop deterioration on a grand scale, but he could choose how to meet it. His writings show a man who accepted decline without surrendering virtue. He believed that doing the right thing mattered, even when the outcome was uncertain. This is a powerful lesson for anyone watching your video. Letting things deteriorate a little is not about giving up. It is about stopping the illusion that you can control everything. It is about choosing character over comfort. When you stop forcing stability, you create space for resilience to grow. You discover what you can endure. You discover who endures with you. Clarity also brings freedom. Once you see who truly stands with you, you no longer waste energy trying to convince others to care. Once you see which systems function only under constant pressure, you can redesign or walk away. Once you see which habits collapse under stress, you can replace them with stronger ones. Deterioration simplifies life by removing what does not belong. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Decay and growth are part of the same process. Leaves fall so new ones can grow. Old structures weaken so stronger ones can be built. When you resist deterioration completely, you resist growth. When you observe it wisely, you evolve. There is also humility in this process. Letting things deteriorate reminds you that you are not indispensable. And this is not an insult. It is a relief. You are not required to hold the world together alone. When something collapses without you, it teaches you where your true responsibility ends. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. Despite his power, he saw himself as a small part of a vast order. This perspective kept him grounded and focused. For the audience, this is an invitation to pause. Step back slightly. Stop fixing everything immediately. Stop answering every call, solving every problem, carrying every burden. Observe what happens. Not with anger, not with fear, with awareness. What deteriorates quickly may not deserve your energy. What remains steady deserves your respect. What adapts deserves your investment. This is how wisdom forms. Not through constant action, but through careful observation. Not through saving everything, but through choosing what is worth saving. Let deterioration teach you, not punish you. Let it clarify, not crush you. When you accept what it reveals, you step into a quieter, stronger form of confidence. After clarity comes choice. This is the final and most important stage. Letting things deteriorate a little shows you who you have chosen, but it also asks a deeper question. Who will you choose next? Knowledge without action changes nothing. Insight without courage becomes regret. Once reality is visible, you must decide how to move forward. Many people reach this point and hesitate. They see the truth, but they cling to familiarity. They tell themselves stories to avoid discomfort. They hope things will improve without change. This is where growth stalls. Marcus Aurelius warned himself against this exact tendency. He wrote about the danger of delaying what reason demands. He believed that once you see what is right, acting on it becomes a moral responsibility. Choice does not always mean dramatic exits or confrontations. Sometimes it means redefining boundaries. Sometimes it means reducing expectations. Sometimes it means investing less emotion where it is not returned. Sometimes it means walking away quietly. Strength is not always loud. Often it is silent and firm. Marcus Aurelius demonstrated this balance throughout his reign. He did not rule through constant aggression. He ruled through consistency. When generals proved unreliable, he replaced them. When policies failed, he adjusted them. When advisors spoke honestly, he listened. When others acted out of ego, he remained composed. His power came not from force, but from alignment between values and action. For a modern audience, this is a call to align your life with truth. If deterioration has shown you that certain relationships drain you, choose distance. If it has shown you that certain goals are built on external validation, choose purpose instead. If it has shown you that your peace depends on constant control, choose trust in your ability to adapt. Letting things deteriorate a little also teaches patience. Not everything reveals itself immediately. Sometimes you need to endure uncertainty to see the full picture. Marcus Aurelius endured years of war before understanding which strategies truly worked. He endured personal grief without rushing to numb it. He allowed time to teach him. Patience for him was not passive. It was discipline waiting combined with steady action. This patience is essential today in a world addicted to instant answers. People rush to label, judge, and react. They fear silence and uncertainty. Yet silence often speaks the loudest. When you stop intervening, patterns emerge. When you stop explaining, intentions become clear. When you stop chasing, loyalty reveals itself. This is not manipulation. It is observation. The final lesson is this: deterioration is not something to fear, but something to respect. It is life's way of restoring balance. It removes what cannot endure and strengthens what can. Marcus Aurelius saw the entire universe as a system of constant change. He accepted decay as part of order, not chaos. This acceptance gave him peace even in turbulent times. Your audience needs to hear this. They do not need false positivity or empty reassurance. They need permission to stop carrying what is not theirs. They need permission to see clearly without guilt. They need permission to choose themselves without becoming selfish. Letting things deteriorate a little grants that permission. When you emerge from this process, you are quieter but stronger. More selective, but not closed. More grounded, but not rigid. You stop proving and start living. You stop reacting and start choosing. You stop fearing loss and start valuing alignment. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Letting deterioration teach you improves the quality of your thinking. It replaces illusion with understanding. It replaces exhaustion with intention. It replaces blind loyalty with conscious commitment. In the end, this philosophy is not about loss. It is about refinement. It is about choosing with open eyes. Let things deteriorate a little so you can see who you have chosen. Then, with calm strength, choose again. Calm strength, choose again.